say you found the skeleton, how would you tell it's a dinosaur? You personally, how would you decide?
Well, interesting question. I don't know. I'd have to do some research on that.
Hey everybody, welcome to Dapper Reacts. This is Dapper Reacts number 128. Billy Carson might be a flat earther. Now I'm saying might, because I do have good reason to think he's not, but also, towards the end of last week, we did hear him conflate south with down, and one of the Sumerian gods was said to go down. And, you know, the obvious interpretation is that this person is going to be ruling the underworld because they're talking about the division of the world. And, you know, one guy got the sky, one guy got the seas, one guy got the, you know, the land, and then someone else went down. Billy Carson's like, nope, that means South Africa. And it's like...
Because it's, yeah.
Yeah. And also, that extra doesn't make sense because down on ancient maps from the time frame when this was written would have been west, not south, because the convention of using north as up on maps is actually pretty recent, and for most of human maps for most of history, east was up, possibly because that's the direction the sun rises. I don't actually know. It could just
Do you know anything about why that changed?
I don't know anything about why. I know at one point I looked up some like research and there were reasons that were given. I don't remember what they are.
Chat, if you know, then clue us in.
Yeah, please
help us out. So, because that is something I'm interested in.
Lieutenant Matt the Navigator for $5 says, "I'm here and I blarn you all." Thank you very much.
Yeah, I think. Well, last night several of us got pretty blarned.
Yeah.
Some people in this very call might still be recovering from getting so blarned.
Yes. I am pretty hungover. I'm not gonna lie.
How late did y'all go?
Did you not? You didn't watch to the end? So
no,
we went
passed out.
All right.
How
okay.
dare.
So we went 3 hours. So, and I think Joel left close to 12. I was up until 3 because that's about the time the room stopped spinning, and I slept late today. But all in all, I'm not feeling great. The stream got demonetized because the clip of elevator music that I selected, which said it was copyright free, apparently is not.
Yeah, you gotta be, that always sucks.
Yeah. So that happened.
I want to say real quick, we just did get $10 from Meat Permistad on the fundraiser with a message that says, buy more rice. So, Vishanti, you're supposed to buy rice.
Okay.
Go buy rice.
Yeah. No hesitation there.
Yeah, I feel like that's not going to be a problem for you. There's one thing I know about Vishanti.
I need very little to no excuse to buy new rice.
Right.
To buy more rice.
Exactly. I, however, I'm good on rice.
I'm still venting here because that's okay. I also spent the last 2 days correcting my index because I was doing another pass of the manuscript here, probably my last one, and I noticed that there was a sentence that needed to be added in an earlier chapter, and when I did that, it threw off the pagination for all the rest of it.
Oh, so, that sucks.
Yeah. Yeah. So I had to go back into my 25 pages of index and manually fix everything. So yeah.
You know what? We might be able to get you some catharsis because if we can get to the 30 super chats within the next a little bit less than 2 hours, you can be unleashed, and then you can drop all the F-bombs you want to help kind of release that tension.
Then I can.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, and that's the other thing. I discovered minutes before we started streaming last night that StreamYard changed their user policy. So I just had no clips yesterday at all.
See, that's why I don't use StreamYard directly.
Yeah.
It's a convenient place to just send a link to people so they don't have to download anything and they can just load in, and it can share videos and other like screen things fairly easily. But I do not stream directly from it because, it's can be iffy. Meat Permits Tat for $5 says, Kip looks like he's about to sell me weed in 1998. Give money to Vish, cowards, AIG, bag, etc. Enjoy your Billy Carson nonsense with a Mothra. Take a drink, thank you very much. I am drinking, by the way, some watermelon soju. Which, in case anyone doesn't know, because apparently this is not as widely known as I might like, soju is a Korean rice wine. And it is... I quite like it. Some people compare it to sake, which is also a rice wine. And, they are both rice wines, but it's kind of like, saying, oh, this and that are also both grape wines, so they're the same drink. That's not how that works. So, they do not taste the same. There are similarities, but, yep. And it is delicious. And let's double check the fundraiser.
Not to be confused with ice wine.
Ice wine?
You don't know what that is?
In it?
No. It's wine. I think it might be an exclusive. They probably make it in other places, but it started in Canada because it's cold, right? So they harvest the grapes. They wait until the first frost, and then harvest the grapes.
Oh,
and it changes the flavor.
Okay.
It's really, really good.
What does it taste like in compared to standard?
It's usually sweeter. So if you really like your wines dry, maybe not for you, but
which I do.
Yeah,
I like it all,
guy. Okay.
right? So
someone tell the Jews because Manischewitz and Maga David are already like cough syrup.
They're so. Look, I'm sorry, but they're not good wines, and I know that it's a big part of American Jewish culture, but you guys have bad wines.
Well, I would say it's American Ashkenazi Jewish culture, but
okay, that's fair.
Yeah, it does. It tastes like cough syrup. It's too sweet. I just
it's
cannot.
Also too raisiny.
Yeah, it does taste kind of raisiny.
It actually reminds me of some Greek wines because there's a lot of raisiny Greek wines.
Met a geeky platypus librarian tried mead today.
Oh, nice! I like
yum.
Mead. A lot of people think mead is going to be super sweet, and it can be, but it definitely doesn't have to be, right? Because just like anything else,
have to be.
Most of that sugar is supposed to be converted into alcohol, and so as long as it ferments long enough and you're not adding extra sweetness in, it shouldn't be really, really sweet. But anyway, we're not here to talk about booze.
And Robert, but
I was just about to read that, Kip.
Yeah.
Robert Adsit says ice wine started in Germany. Canada has or had the perfect climate to adopt it. So that's cool.
Had being the operative word here.
Well,
you probably still. I mean, it still gets pretty goddamn cold.
Ouch.
Are you okay?
Oh,
elbow, freaking
you're right?
elbow.
Wow.
Y'all, I regularly run into things and bump my elbows and knees and ankles and toes on stuff. It's comedy by this point. It really is. I get this from my dad. It's just one of those things I'm not super tall, but I'm lanky, and I often compare myself to a skeleton, but I'm accident prone. I could literally clip my shoulder on a corner in a house that I've lived in for decades, and I hit my elbow on things regularly that I interact with. It's preposterous, honestly, and I hate it, but...
Fear Blind Monger, sorry. Which is better in your opinion, sake or soju? I'd say more often I am inclined to get soju, but there are going to be exceptions. If I'm at a nice Japanese place, I'm probably not going to try to find soju. But if it's just I'm in a liquor aisle and they have both, and I can only get one, I'm probably going to reach for the soju. I feel like it's a little bit smoother. And and I just personally prefer the flavor profile a little bit. It's not a huge deal, and I'm never disappointed to have sake. So like, it's not a strong preference.
Someone in the chat, BPA says, pro tip, take off the blindfold. Claude Simeon says I run into door frames a ridiculous amount. Apparently, according to one of my fellow ADHD friends, there is a statistically significant number of ADHD people who are accident prone in this way, that we constantly clip corners or like knock into things that we shouldn't. And that makes at least casual sense to me because ADHD is a neurological thing. So if your spatial awareness is off, that to me overlaps in a way that makes sense. So I wasn't surprised. But there's also been memes apparently that I learned that are about like the ADHD gait or the way that we like swing our limbs and stuff. And I was like, oh my God, I feel attacked.
I run into door frames quite a bit, actually. Wow.
That's the place.
See, Dutch Tunicate. It's not just you. See? It's freaking weird, man. We need more research.
Can I go?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All right.
So the place hostility student kit for $2 says red or white wine. I'm more of a whites guy. Overall, I generally prefer red wine.
Yeah.
There are exceptions. There are times when I want something a little bit more like acidic, and also I tend to be a little bit more tolerant of sweeter wines when they're white than red. So if I'm in the mood for something a little bit more acidic or a little sweeter, I will go to a white wine.
For me, it's all about temperature. Because I if I want something cold, then I might have a white wine. But usually it's beer at that point. So
all right.
Just don't like white wines very much. Every once in a blue moon you can convince me to drink like muscadine wine, but that again it's very sweet, but I let it pass because it's lighter. I like red wines as a general rule, even though they hurt me. Red wine is a common migraine trigger, so usually when I drink red wine, I'm running a very high risk. But it's what goes the best with pasta. So if I just want a casual wine, I will just go for a blush. Those are really good.
Flippo for 25 Polish zloty. I don't remember how to pronounce it. I'm sorry. It says, for therapeutical reasons, I can read, I can talk. Don't worry, everybody. I'll be honest, I'm not zero hungover, but I'm very little hungover. So it's okay. Look.
Did you pass out last night too?
No, I wish I had. I spent time waiting for frames to finish. So in case anyone doesn't know, I had Sheepit on for about 56 hours straight, just rendering the frames for the video that came out on early access today. So if you're a channel member or a patron at the Patreon, you have a new 54-minute video that you can watch as of today. If you are not one of those and you would like to watch it, well, the Patreon starts at $1 a month. You can go 50% discount for an annual pledge, or you can join the channel at $1.99, and then after this, you can go watch an extra 54 minutes of Dapper Dinosaur content. So there you go. Okay, but we're not
Fibonacci
here...
single cell trilobite 8 says Dapper got drunk on Blender.
Actually, yeah, I was drinking a different bottle of soju as I was doing Blender stuff. I was drinking, that one was blueberry soju.
Yummy.
Yep, and I still have some lychee, which is one of my favorites, but I'm saving it.
You know what I need to add back into my grocery list for next time I go? Strawberry waffles.
Nice, yeah. All right, but Billy Carson. Let's talk about Billy Carson. So,
see, I've been putting it off.
Billy Carson. Yeah. No, we all know. It's okay. We get it. But maybe if we can get Kip Unleashed, we can have a second, smaller goal to get another Just Tangents episode where we just do the tangents.
I mean, we did have it was essentially a food stream.
Yeah, right. We could do another one. So if we can get Kip done, I'll start up another. If we can get Kip Unleashed with the first goal, I will set up a second, smaller, easier to meet goal, and we will have an episode where we just do whatever. O&B, Spoiled Bone Pits and
Somebody-
Parsimonious Charlatans for $5 says, why not Antarctica or, God forbid, Australia? Took off pairing fund Godzilla, Mothra, Ghidorah, and we'll take a drink there. Thank you very much.
We had talked about doing a spooky movie stream.
That would
Yeah,
be
I
fun, yeah.
absolutely think it needs to be spooky movies.
Yeah, that would be a lot of fun. Oh, and another one came in, so I need to update again. Meat Permit Sat for $5 says, Gewürztraminer?
Gewürztraminer.
Gewürztraminer.
Look, my German is atrocious. Is a superior wine. It has body and doesn't kick you in the face. I'm sad we're talking about Billy Carson now. Well,
Yeah.
super chats are one of the few things that will make me delay that more or less indefinitely. So, you know.
I think that's true.
Spoiler alert.
Renee keeps getting reborn. How does this keep happening? And then it's off. For $5.
Get off the wheel of Samsara, dude.
Right. Look, there's got to be a Bodhi tree somewhere. Let's go find one. So anyway, Renee says for $5, autism often affects proprioception in similar ways to ADHD. ADHD. There we go. This also results in statistically more clipping corners and knocking into things.
See, there
Handshake
you go.
emoji. Well, there we go.
See?
Very interesting.
So yeah. Anyway, what is happening with Billy's little story here? So we're in the part of the Epic of Atrahasis where the Ijiji are like, hey, we don't like being, made to labor so hard in the whole creation of the world and supporting the gods. And so they are storming the house of Enlil, I believe. And that is where we are at. And so Billy, he's giving this part a fairly reasonable reading. He's just reading it more or less at face value, which I do think is fairly reasonable. But he's going to go off the deep end because I happen to know what kinds of thing Billy Carson says about these texts. So pretty soon, I imagine he's going to go pretty far off the deep end. And then Goop23 for $5 says, going to blow Billy Carson's down equal self mind when he learns about Upper and Lower Nile. Yeah, right? Because the Lower Nile is the north and the Upper Nile is the south.
That's right.
That
Yes.
messes me up
Very
to
true.
this day, and I every single time have to remind myself: Upper Nile, South Nile, Upper Nile, South Nile. It's upper because it's closer to the mountainous source.
Yep, it's literally higher in elevation. It's like the difference between high and low German in like language history. That wasn't about the better German. It was just about the German spoken in the highlands versus the lowlands. It's the same thing. Literally,
They should have called it High German instead of High German. That's confusing.
Becca Justiniano, who's been a member for 20 months, is at the Tetrapod level, says, more super chats equals less Billy Carson Mothra. It's true.
Throw.
It's literally
Oh, by the way,
drink.
Macy Cat. Macy Cat. I love you, Macy Cat. Give that kitty some kisses.
And also do remember Vishanti's fundraiser to make sure that she can, continue surviving for the next few months is linked in the description. It is the pinned chat, and we do take donations there as 20% more than they actually are in terms of things like getting fancy avatars, making me wear a pink tutu like I'm going to be doing on Tuesday, getting Bent free food so that he doesn't starve, stuff like that. Remember, the only time Bent eats is when
Chat buys him pizza.
Chat buys him pizza, or you guys get him stuff from
Yes.
his wish list. His wish list and Chat getting him pizza, or sometimes we change it up and get like Chinese or something. I think we've done Chinese and Mexican before, but the default is pizza.
Yum.
But like, if we're both like, I'm not really feeling pizza, you want to get like lo mein or something, then we'll get lo mein.
Yeah.
So yeah, here we go. Here is Billy talking about the Ijiji storming the house of Enlil.
He sent for Anne to be brought down to him because Anne rules from the sky. He's in a ship.
What is going on with his audio?
Ship?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm going to see if I can't do anything while we talk about the fact that his ship. So in the text, we hear that he's his house,
yes.
right? So where do you
Yes.
think he gets ship?
Because they're just the ancient people didn't know how to describe a
'Cause
ship
it's
or
up.
craft,
You think
so
it's
they just called it
yeah.
a house.
I mean, the thing is, like, okay, even if you want, you go with, okay, the Sumerians don't have a word for spaceship. Okay, weird if they're interacting with them, because apparently they are, so it's weird that you wouldn't have a word for that. But also, like, why wouldn't they just use something like sky and boat together? Or star and boat, or something like that, right? They have lots of words for
Boat?
things to do with boats, and lots of words for things to do with things in the sky.
Well, because I think in their kayfabe here, the boats are open-faced. Houses are enclosed, and you would need to be enclosed to go up into the upper atmosphere and/or outer space.
Okay.
And that's where they would need to live for a long time, right? So why not a house?
Yeah, I don't know exactly what's going on
Good.
with
I like
his
that.
audio. I'm going to keep working on it. Meat Permits Time.
Alright.
has
This
been a
is
member for-
another point in the he might be a flurf because flurfs can't tech.
Yeah, but I think there might be something I can do to help fix it. But Meat Permits
Okay.
Tad
Doesn't
said,
he? I don't know. He's rich. Shouldn't he have people to look after these things for him?
Yadi's lazy.
Hmm. Okay.
Meat Permits Tad, who's been a member for 5 months, says, remember, Dapper keeps Ben prisoner. Weird. I mean, he can leave. He just would, get caught by all the traps.
It's like, no, I won't say it.
It's kind of like Saw, right? Except that,
Yeah.
there's no timer, so he'll be fine. Just needs pizza every once in a while. What? There's no timer. So
Well, at least he gets that.
Yeah, he gets pizza every once in a while. And then, sometimes he's on Kent with Ben. It's great.
Yeah, he's totally not being, held at gunpoint off screen or anything.
No,
He's doing that completely
No,
of his
I mean-
own free will.
I don't need guns. Come on. What is this?
He's a dinosaur.
Yeah, he's a dinosaur.
You're a dinosaur.
All
You
right.
just squish people.
Nothing so creepy. All right, here we go. Oh, why can't I? What are you doing to me?
Even the video program this morning's like, no,
I
I
know.
don't wanna.
Enki was fetched into his presence. And King of the Sky was present. Enki, King of the Abzu, attended.
It's like we have reverse noise removal.
Yeah,
Right?
when he stops talking, it just however live the room could possibly be. Ugh, this is awful.
You know what? Hold on. What if I say, hey, I don't even know. Is it currently normalized? The audio? Normalized volume? No,
Yeah,
it's not.
Crypto 457
Right.
says Dapper Dino steppies. I don't think Dapper would squish people with his
No.
feet. I think that you could just accidentally lay down on something, like when a dog flops down on your foot, but it's a 200-pound dog.
I mean, I don't know.
Kip nodded. He's like, yeah, I know what that feels like.
I don't
Yeah.
think that would actually crush someone, though. People seem to forget.
I didn't say you had to crush them. It would just...
Oh, okay. We certainly trap them. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Here we go.
The great Anunnaki were all present. Enlil got up, and the case was put. Enlil made his voice heard and spoke to the great gods.
That's horrific. That did not help.
It did not.
I'm gonna undo that because that didn't help at all. Okay, cool. Whatever, Billy.
Is it against me that they have risen? Shall I do battle with them?
Oh, do you think he thinks that risen here isn't about rising up in rebellion,
Yes.
but it's literally about going
Oh
up
my
to a
God.
spaceship?
In the
Oh
spaceship,
no!
yes.
Ugh.
He's
take a
going
drink.
to fight with his spaceship.
Fear Blarn
No.
Munger says, wasn't Lawrence Sizzle doing that Tuesday as well? Are you sure it isn't your own device? That's why I'm seeing if I can fix it on my end. Because it wasn't exactly the same thing, but it was similar, and I don't know what the deal is there. So, kind of the answer is, yeah, maybe. But it also, they weren't doing that a few days ago, and I don't remember having changed much, which is also weird. We've got for $5 from ONB, Spoiled Bone Pits, and Parsimonious Charlatans. The House of the Rising Sun is the translation of the name of the spaceship. AIG is a bag of pigs. Insert clever.
You know what? That
alliteration here.
explains the entire Moorhead and Benson universe.
Oh, there we go.
That now we just got to figure out how to work in the red flowers and the hoodoo fuckamajigs.
My Unfinished Journey for 28 months. It's been a member for 28 months. Wait, Sean, did you just drop our F-bombs?
Mine don't count.
Yes, they do. I heard it.
No, they don't.
They count. That's it. We just dropped it. Hail Daps, Dr. Kill, and Vish, and hail Bent's occasional food foraging furloughs. Thank you very much. Like that.
Good. Yep.
All right, let's update here. We'll double check in on the fundraiser. Do remember those count extra towards any stream funding milestones or whatever. And of course, Vishanti could use, more time of being able to not be in trouble.
In theory, the person or persons who are deciding the fate of my job application should be back from their vacation this upcoming
Nice.
week. So
Well,
there
that's
is a
good.
chance that is much
Good.
higher than this
You'll-
current week that I could hear an answer back.
Very nice.
That would be great.
Positive answers preferred.
Yeah, please.
What did I see with my own eyes? A rabble was running around my door. And made his voice heard and spoke to the warrior and Lil. So, and Lil's talking to his brother and his dad, like, "Yeah, what should we do? Should we go to war against these people? I mean, can you believe what they've done to us? Can you believe they have the gall to walk around and challenge us? Let Nusku go out and find out the word of the Ijiji who have surrounded your door." And Lil made his voice heard and spoke to the vizier, Nusku. Nusku, open your door, take up your weapons, and stand before me. In the assembly of the gods, bow, then stand and tell them, your father An, your council warrior and Lil, and your chamberlain Ninurta, and your canal controller Inugi, me to say, who is in charge of this rabble? Who is in charge of this fighting? Who declared war? Who ran to the door of Enlil?
Okay.
Nusku opened his
last
door,
time-
took up his weapon.
Last time he said visor. This time he said vizier.
You said vizier.
So
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
kudos, I guess.
Weird that you couldn't just do it every time, but yeah,
Yeah, I guess that he realized that, after the fact and just made a mental note or something, but
Yeah, I don't know. So it's one of those weird things where like I don't know the degree to which I can really say this as like a firm thing, but it really does seem like it's one of those things where like, hey, Billy, it gives off the air that you don't actually care about the text itself. And the thing is, I don't think he does. Right? No.
No.
Yeah. I think that much like with a creationist, look, here's the thing, right? As a general rule, creationists do not care at all about what the Bible says. They care about what they believe it says, and it's going to say what they believe it says, no matter what it actually says. That's why you'll still get creationists saying things like, well, the snake deceived Eve in the garden. Did he? Where? What thing that those snakes said was false? God confirmed the snake wasn't lying.
By the way, I'd like to point out that maybe one of my favorite parts of the stream last night was to have pretty conservative seminary professor Joel Kuritko rather emphatically confirm for everyone listening that no, that is not a pluperfect construction in Genesis.
yeah, that was
2:19.
pretty nice.
That
But
was,
also, that in addition to that victory, which I think kudos all around.
yes,
There was some stuff y'all were talking about, like Joel was cooking on some
Yeah, he
stuff,
was.
man. Like I told Simone this, that stream last night, it felt like the coolest bait rush ever.
Ooh.
Like that's exactly the kind of
Nice.
stuff that I love doing.
yeah.
And just listening to y'all, even though like I kind of came in late and I couldn't stay the whole time, I just it made my neurons do the happy dance.
All right, I think I might have improved the sound, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm
Oh,
going to
good.
close the video, and remember that we're at 24:38. I'm going to start it back up, and we're going to see what happens.
Let's see.
Just making sure. 24:45. That's what I'm going to call it. Remember that number.
We are gonna be
24:45?
tonight about Darwin's
I have to reshare.
theory of evolution. His evolutionary.
Now he's all
theory.
quiet.
I'm going to be basically debunking that theory, and we're going to was present.
That does sound.
And your
I think that
semblance to
does.
stand before me
Yeah, that's
in
better.
the assembly of the
I
gods.
think it does sound.
Bowed.
Better, yeah.
I had to fiddle around with some sound settings. I don't know why. I don't know exactly what happened, but whatever happened, it looks like it's better now. So we're gonna go with this. Beat permit tap for $5 says, "Nope, can't do this anymore. Good loose static, ever static, AI static, dick static." Oh, I get it. There we go. I'll take a drink. Loop23 for $5 says, "How are they walking around outside the door if it's a spaceship? Is it a spacewalk?" Yeah, that's another good point, right? Like, how? What are the logistics of this? Did all the EGG just happen to have spacesuits? That seems like a weird thing to give your earthbound slaves that you're having mine gold for you. Why would you do that? I don't know. We are 1/3 of the way to unleashing Kip and activating the next super chat goal, which is to have a spooky movie stream. We just talk about spooky movies.
Yee.
Yep. So basically, anything horror or reasonably horror adjacent is going to count as a spooky movie.
Then stand and tell them, your father Anne, your council warrior Enlil, and your chamberlain Ninurta, and your canal controller Inugi have sent me to say, who is in charge of this rabble? Who is in charge of this fighting? Who declared war? Who ran to the door of Enlil?
And I'm sorry, this is not really a technical thing, but he might be the most boring reader that I have ever heard. And maybe I've been
It's pretty
spoiled
bad.
because lately I've been listening to a fair few Audible books, and they usually get pretty decent, readers for those. But oof. I feel like even if I were a kid and this guy came to my classroom to read us a story, I'd be like, this is boring.
Oh my god. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh well.
Nusku opened his door and took up his weapons, went before Enlil in all the assembly of gods.
Is he going to tell us that the weapons were ray guns and atomic
I hope
bombs
so.
or something?
I really
Okay.
hope so.
Okay.
He bowed, then he stood and delivered Enlil's message. Then Gabil, leader of the Ijiji revolt, made his voice heard and spoke to Nusku. Every single one of us gods declare war. We have put a stop to the digging. The load is too excessive. It is killing us. Our work is too hard. The trouble too much. So every single one of us gods has agreed to complain to Enlil. Now notice that they call themselves gods as well.
I did notice that, Billy.
Yes.
Yeah, because these are a
It's
lower
'cause
rank
that's
of
what they
gods.
are.
Right.
Yes.
Because the deities in the ancient Near East come in tiers. In fact, it's not just the ancient Near East, but it is that too. They often came in tiers where there was the high god, who is usually some kind of father figure. Kind of guy you see pictured like Zeus, right? There's usually an old man with a white beard. Zeus, Odin, Jupiter. In some ways, El from the Semitic pantheon would also meet this old guy, head of the pantheon. Then there's usually one tier down, which are all of that guy's kids. And then often there's a third generation that forms a third tier. And there's usually often the first two tiers are pretty well defined in terms of who's there, what their domains are, where they're said to have power over what cities or territories or whatever. But then that third tier can often be a little bit more nebulous and open. And local spirits can kind of drift in and out of that and whatnot. And that's what we're talking about here, is we're talking about this sort of a third tier set of deities, which are probably not all going to be named, and probably not a closed category. Although calling the first two tiers closed is a little bit not true either. Deities can enter and exit that as well. Minigeeky Platypus Librarian for $5 says, the humidity in space was high before the heavens unleashed the waters. It's basically biblical science, like AIG is a pot of lamprey sex toys. I don't even know what that means, but I'm going to drink for it. I don't want to think about what a lamprey sex toy would be. Is it just a sex toy in the shape of a lamprey? Because that's worse than what I was thinking, which was a sex toy used by a lamprey. April Van Ryan, who's been a member for 21 months and is at the ambient level, says, Carson is worse than AIG, who's a bag of dicks, and we'll take a drink for that too. So that's 2. And then we got to update the earnings thing here, because you never know, we might get another fancy avatar, which I would be okay with. We're currently, the next one I'm going to be using is probably going to be Clay Dapper, unless there's a lot of votes for something else. But hey, you could have another one.
Because they themselves were not slaves, even though they were being ran as slaves. This was the problem. Nusku took his weapons, went and returned to Enlil. There Nusku delivered the answer of the Ijiji. Enlil listened to his speech. His tears flowed. Enlil spoke guardedly, addressed the Sky King An. That's his dad. Noble one.
So wait, is Anne also in a different spaceship? Something the text doesn't indicate at all?
Things we are unaware of.
Yeah.
Yes.
Take a decree with you to the sky. Show your strength while the Anunnaki are sitting before you. Call up one rebellious god and let them cast him before destruction. So he's saying, Dad, take their leader and kill him in front of everybody so they can see we ain't playing around over here. Show them what's up. Show them we ain't about. Tell them we want the smoke. That's what he's saying.
Thanks for the reinterpretation. I agree that is roughly what's going on.
An made his voice heard and spoke to the gods, his sons. What are we complaining of? Their work was indeed too hard. Their trouble was too much. Every day the earth resounded with their groans and cries. The warning signal was loud enough. We kept hearing the noise. We ignored them. They have every right to revolt and complain to the house of Enlil. Enlil was enraged with it.
You know, I think more rulers should acknowledge that at a certain point, their subjects or citizens have a right to revolt. I think that would be that might improve things around the world overall. Because the thing about revolt is, you always have the right to revolt, unless you lose. Then you never had the right to revolt.
Yeah.
It's one of those tricky things.
You know, I don't know, because I would say France differs from you because the Haitian Revolution succeeded and France is still trying to make Haiti pay for it. So,
I mean, okay, they're not going to, so like, whatever.
I know.
It's
France
yeah.
keeps sending bills and Haiti's like, no, okay. They just throw it in the trash.
Yeah. It reminds me of so at one point I believe it was Morocco tried to get some reparations from France for the colonial era. And
Yeah.
the diplomatic response from France was like, absolutely, right after you give us reparations for all the slave taking during the Barbary Coast period. And then Morocco was like, well, okay, never mind.
That's different.
Yeah.
When we do it, it's fine.
I know.
Like, yeah. Like, not that I'm in support of the French, colonialism in Africa, but
Yeah, definitely
also
not.
it's not like
Algeria.
everyone in Africa has never done anything bad undeservedly to people in Europe. Turns out lots of people have sailed from North Africa to Europe to go pillaging and raping and slaving.
Yeah, and this is why, like, as simplistic and idealistic as it may be, this is why I'm team don't do that stuff.
Yeah. Mm-mm. Don't colonize, don't pillage, don't rape, don't enslave.
Yeah. No more war. Just stop. Like, again.
Oh, hey, Mothra
Hey,
came
Mothra!
by. Drink for Mothra.
Ugly German Truce, good to see you. Asks in the chat, are y'all ever offline? Not really.
I mean, sometimes I sleep for
We're
4 or 5
millennials.
hours.
We're terminally online.
Yeah, seriously. Well, also, it's not that I'm always actively online, and more that, like, anytime anything happens, I'm going to get notifications from someone about it, and then I'm going to find out about it. So, like, it seems like I'm online 24/7, but that's because I have a pretty well-established, like, set of sources that will alert me to important things, or things that I find important. So.
Hey, Dapper, Jennifer Silvis in the chat asks, the Emerald tablets aren't from Mesopotamia, are they? I thought they're modern, as in post-Rome.
So, okay, it depends on what you mean. The internal narrative of the Emerald tablets says that they're basically Egyptian, and they come out of they're sort of a legendary text in Hermetic texts. So Hermeticism is this sort of philosophical / religious movement that was really popular in like antiquity, and it involved sort of a conflation of the Greek god Hermes and the Egyptian god Thoth, or Thoth. I don't really care. I don't think we have a good grasp on Middle Egyptian like vowels anyway. So, say it however you want. And that became this figure called Hermes Trismegistus, or Thrice Blessed Hermes, or whatever. And then you get a whole bunch of Hermetic texts in which Hermes is walking with various mortal followers, or disciples, or companions, or whatever, giving them various philosophical ideas. And this idea that he wrote down these emerald tablets is a thing that you can find in some of the ancient literature, but there's no such actual text that we can find anciently. Later on, during the medieval period, a actual text was produced, probably in Arabic. Our oldest versions of it are in Arabic, and it doesn't seem to have a lot of signs that I know of having been written in a different language and then translated into Arabic, so it was probably composed in Arabic. And then that is sort of like the medieval emerald tablets. And then much more recently, there has been a claim that someone has channeled the actual real emerald tablets from Thoth the Atlantean, because in this version of Hermeticism, Thoth is actually also a king of Atlantis. Somehow. It doesn't make much sense. And also remember, anytime you hear someone say, well, this is a channeled text, what that means is you made it, the person who says that they channeled it, they made it up. Right? It's channeled the same way that, like, God channeled the translation of the Book of Mormon into a stone in a hat for Joseph Smith to read. What does that mean to anyone who does not already have the firm belief that that was a miracle? It means he made it up. I've heard some people say, like, how could you have made up such a compelling story? It's like, have you read the Book of Mormon? It is one of the most boring things ever put to paper. It is a rambling, nonsensical bunch of mush. So, sorry if there's Mormons watching this. I have tried numerous times to get through the Book of Mormon, and I fall asleep somewhere around, like, first knee high. It is one of the hardest things to read.
I have a Book of Mormon
I do too.
on my. I haven't read it though.
It's
Like at all.
honestly, it reads like someone who has no idea how story structure works read the King James a whole lot, and then
yeah.
decided he was going to do his own fanfic of it, but it was all stream of consciousness for years. Just a stream of consciousness version of, like, what if King James, but in, fantasy version of America, which pre-Columbus had things like horses and cows and goats and sheep and iron swords. Things we know very definitively didn't exist in the Americas before extensive European contact. Yeah, that's what it reads like. And, like, look, I'm someone who's read a fair few different religious texts. I managed to get through, like, Surat al-Baqarah in the Quran in, like, 2 sittings. And I still couldn't get through the Book of Mormon. In case you're wondering, that's Surah 2. It's by far the longest surah. It's also probably the most boring one, because it's almost entirely just, like, legislation about things like inheritance and various other stuff. And it's sort of like starting off, like, if the Bible just started with its longest book, and that book just happened to be Deuteronomy. You're like, oh, is this going to be the whole thing? Because I'm sorry for everyone who likes the Torah. I like the Torah, but let's be honest. Deuteronomy isn't the kind of thing that you want to curl up by a fire with and just kind of read through most of the time.
No.
I mean, speak for yourself. I love studying that stuff.
Hey, all right.
Curling up by the fire though? I don't know.
In Southern California, not
Yeah.
exactly a fire. Well, after dark, though, it gets really cool. It's been in the 60s, like the low 60s at night. So that's bonfire weather.
My Unfinished Journey
Yeah.
for $2.22 says, don't be a discount Morgan Freeman, like and share. Who said about the Navigator for $5 says, chloroform in print, Mark Twain on the Book of Mormon. Yeah. I can't disagree with him on that.
Yeah.
Jennifer Silvas for $2 says, how is Billy Carson reading the Book of Mormon? Yeah, that might actually be what hell is. That would be rough.
That's cursed.
Yeah, my goodness. And then, of course, he's going to tell us how actually the boat that the Hebrews sailed on to escape the Babylonian exile that brought them to the New World was actually a super advanced spaceship.
Of course.
That took them from Jerusalem to wherever it is they
Yes.
landed in the New World. Yep.
The answer. Enlil was one of the most evil people that ever was on this planet. Enlil, by the way, is known as a couple names. He's also Yahweh in the modern day Bible.
Just drink.
No.
No.
Okay.
So, like,
Everybody.
we don't have the
Nope.
greatest
He's not.
evidence as to where Yahweh came from, but there's no evidence that connects him to Enlil at all.
None.
In fact, up until he takes on sort of like the divine profile of El, the high deity, he doesn't actually seem to map very well onto any aspects of Enlil.
No. No, not at all.
But afterwards, I mean,
So-
there's a thematic connection in that they both become sort of high deities of a pantheon. But in that case, then you're going to just have to say that every single high deity is actually the same guy in every single religious system. And I don't think that's a reasonable thing that you can do. I know that the Greeks and the Romans were into trying to make those connections, but they were often very forced. Like, very, very forced. So, yeah, no. There's... also, I just want to point out, it strikes me as a little anti-Semitic to say that the central figure of the Tanakh is in fact identical to the most evil being to ever be on the earth. Seems a little weird. I don't know, especially since
Potentially.
This idea, Old Testament bad, New Testament good, Old Testament God evil and mean, New Testament God nice and fluffy and bunnies. Like, that in itself is anti-Semitic. Like, it's just one of those things that's so casually accepted and repeated by people. I just don't have the energy sometimes to, like, push back.
well,
Of the New
d-
Testament, Ugly German Truths has asked if the name Yahweh or the Tetragrammaton is ever used
well,
in the New Testament.
not really,
And,
because it's in Greek.
No, but we do have. I mean, I will point out that we do have Greek manuscripts of the Septuagint, which use a transliterated form of
That's not
of
the New
Yahweh,
Testament?
and that's not the New Testament. So they're not doing the same thing.
No.
But I think. I mean, I tend to accept that among these writers, certainly they're probably reading Septuagint manuscripts where they have just replaced Yahweh with the Lord.
Yeah.
And the New
Kyrios.
Testament is just following suit on that.
Yeah. So a lot of times, if you're getting something that's a reference to the Old Testament in the New Testament, and it's the Lord, the underlying Hebrew in the original Old Testament book is going to have Yahweh in there.
Yeah, almost always.
But
So,
it's sort of
yeah.
like how, even people who know about the Tetragrammaton, when they're speaking English, they usually just use like the Lord or God or something else like that, right? If you're going to actually say Yahweh, it's usually because you're trying to be very specific, and there's a lot of gods floating around in the conversation, and you need to be specific to this particular deity of this particular group. Whereas, like, if you're just going, like, you don't hear, like, a lot of, say, like, Christians using the Tetragrammaton as a name for God in church. And obviously you don't find Jews doing it because they have a taboo against saying it, so, yeah. Jennifer Silvas for $5 says, no, when they say Enlil is Yahweh, they're saying Enki is Yah, two Old Testament gods. Is that what he's saying? I didn't catch that.
Also, just a pro tip to Dr. Strange Doom, I guess, in the chat. Calling it Jew magic, not the best look.
Yeah.
No.
Not a good look.
Nope. There are definitely better ways to express that. Maybe Jewish mysticism or Jewish ritual practice. Or if you're actually talking about magical practice in, like, in terms of, like, spell scrolls or, apotropaic talismans, maybe, talk about, I don't know, Jewish magical practice. Or you could just specify that you're talking about things like apotropaic amulets. It's not like those have stopped.
Oh, yeah.
People still wear apotropaic amulets all the time.
He's also Satan in some text, the Lord of Eden.
Okay,
Satan.
Oh my
I'm going
god.
to take another drink because also
The Lord of Eden.
Satan or the accuser appears a few times in the Bible, and it's never the same guy as Adonai. Ever.
And it's never the same guy.
Actually, I do think
As
there might
in
be
the
a
garden.
couple times when Adonai is called an accuser.
Yes.
Yeah, but there's a different
Uh,
character. You can't just conflate these. And also,
Yeah.
the accuser, at least in the Old Testament, isn't a single guy. And in the New Testament, if we're going to talk about that, because, I mean, there's a pretty big distinction there, but we talk about the Bible, we often mean both. Satan has coalesced into a single character, but it's definitely also not God. So I don't know in what way does Billy think that, like, Adonai and Enlil are real, and they're also the separate inspiration for Satan, and then everyone who wrote about this was just too stupid to figure out that they're the same guy? Is that what he's trying to
Remember,
say?
this is like ancient alien stuff that these are all mythological histories that were written about like otherworldly beings and extra dimensional like travelers and stuff that people just misunderstood as gods, but they're really just aliens with advanced technology.
Who might also just
Or
be
if you're a
Satan.
mystic of that flavor, then they were actual quote unquote gods, and they just, for whatever reason, they don't interact with us anymore.
Kent the Bacteria kind of Halstead for $5 says, "Ah, why does Windows have to be the only operating system using backslashes for directories?" Lots of question marks. It's so annoying. I don't know the answer to that. Landon Noel might know the answer to that. Yeah. Fun fact: the fact that division is less efficient on computers than multiplication is due to a way of handling that math. It's actually hard coded onto computer chips, but it's done that way as a result, at least in part, of a decision that Landon Noble made back when he was working with like the first or second generations of computers. So, yeah.
Kip,
Is it-
I will draw your attention to something that Jennifer Silvis is saying in the chat. Marduk is the god of
But
Exodus in
Marduk?
the system.
Yeah.
Or Anki. I think they meant to type Aya, Asher Aya. Is I am Aya. And there she clarifies, I'm not saying I believe this. Yeah, that's the way that they
Oh, is that
Okay.
how they get from
Yeah.
one to the other?
Yeah, I see.
I guess I can see. That reminds me of what is it? Bodhi Hodge saying like,
Yeah.
"Oh, hey, I'll bet the
Mhm.
island of Tuvalu was settled by the descendants of Tubal because they kind of sound vaguely similar." And it's like, okay, Bodhi, sure.
As I learned from listening to the now disgraced Egyptologist, the term Yahweh is apparently a third masculine singular imperfect form of the copular verb in the second tense.
What is the second
Okay.
tense?
I am sorry. I almost said it. I have no idea.
Okay. Also,
it sounds like
doesn't-
gibberish.
does the Hebrew generally not use a copula in like, generally?
Copular.
Sorry.
Copular.
Okay, but still, doesn't Hebrew generally not bother?
Often, yeah.
Okay, because
But I mean, it is Haya is the copulative. So, but
in case anyone doesn't know, the copula or the copular verb, if you will, is basically the verb to be.
Yeah.
That's using a bunch of linguistics jargon, often in an iffy manner, because of course.
And so there is I don't know anything about Egyptian, but apparently in some older forms of Egyptian there is a second tense. That's not it doesn't look like anything special to me.
I would have to look that up. I don't know that off the top of my head.
But the theory of this person is that there's also a second tense in especially ancient Hebrew, based on
Is this
vibes.
like an
I guess.
aorist, an irrealist? Like, is there any
Okay.
kind of
I
definition?
don't know.
Okay.
I've got a couple things. Arcade in the chat says, my formula. Apologia deleted his comment, which was something to the effect of copular is less than perfect. And I was gonna also say this one thing. Ugly German Truths says religion is a control mechanism and then spouts a bunch of r/atheism bullshit. I will just personally ask you, as someone who has generally positive feelings towards your Ugly German Truths, not to repeat that kind of crap, because A, it's lazy, B, it's not historical, C, it's not accurate, and D, if you just mean Christianity, just say that. Because most people, when they talk about religion, think that they mean anything that has vague theist overtones. It's not. You just really mean Christianity in the West. So please just clarify that, because indigenous religions aren't like that. Judaism is not like that.
Christianity isn't even always
a lot
like
of
that.
other. Yeah, Christianity's not always like that, but lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of other systems that aren't Christianity do not work that way. So just as a personal request, please don't.
Right? Yeah, Satan. That's Enlil. Then Farsight.
And Lil just gets to be everybody in the Bible.
Yeah, right. So he's Yahweh and he's Satan.
Yep.
Is that that's
Let's
right?
make him the angel of
Okay.
the Lord too. Why not?
Right. Yes, of course.
To the degree to which that is not just, God. In many cases, it's pretty clear that that's just, oh, yeah, it's the angel of the Lord. Don't worry about it. It's not actually the Lord. I feel like there might have been an older strata where it was just the Lord, but okay.
Enki stepped in and offered a wise solution to the trouble. Enki made his voice heard and spoke to the gods, his brothers. Why are we blaming them? Their work was too hard, their trouble too much. Every day the earth resounded with their groans and cries. The warning signal was loud enough. We kept hearing the noise, but we ignored them. There is an answer to this problem. Now listen very carefully, guys. That's where I'm going with all this.
Okay, here we
Noble
go.
Anne,
Well, good. Okay.
call forth Velati, the womb goddess, into your presence. This is they're into this genetic stuff, like I told you.
Oh no.
Hey,
Uh,
Vishanti, remember that time that I was like, hey, you remember Ashloki tanks from Dune?
yeah.
Well, I got bad news for you. Yeah. Now, to be fair, not all of that vibe is coming from Billy Carson. Some of it is definitely coming from this text, right? Because it's like, oh, hey, you're the womb goddess, so what do you do? Oh, right. That's it. You exist to be pregnant. Okay. Great. Yeah, so not all of it is coming directly from Billy. Some of it is also just, the inherent misogyny in Sumerian society. So, like, yeah. Lieutenant Matt, the Navigator, for $5 says, oops, all in littles. Yes.
Yes.
That brings us to halfway to getting the Unleashed kit, which means we are actually going to take a quick break. Everyone can refill their glasses, refill their coffees, get a snack, whatever. Do some biology stuff. In the meantime, please enjoy the musical stylings of one Beethoven, and we will be back in just a few minutes. right, we are back. Thank you very much, everyone, for sticking with me. In fact, actually, I think we might have gained some viewers during the break, so that's always interesting. We usually lose a few because some people can't be bothered. And that's okay, I get it. We have a few super chats to go through. My Unfinished Journey for $2.22 says the copula verb isn't bow chicka wow wow. Conlang idea. Inquisitive Infidel says for $5, simple people tend to simplify. If you can pigeonhole a bunch of gods in the same category and say that they're basically all the same, why not? I mean, yeah, that does happen historically.
It's lazy. Yeah.
But the thing is, I don't think that as people who are interested in how, like, what was happening in the past and how we got to, like, the history of religion and religious ideas and ideas about deity, I don't think we should just accept that as what we should do when investigating the past. Even though people in the past often did do it themselves. Metageeky Platypus Librarian for $5 says, unleash the kit, feed the cat, bring down the patriarchy, head pat your trans gals with a trans pride flag, eat the nachos, drink the drinks, catalog your books. Catalog your books. Alright, so let's see.
Catalog books, yeah.
We're close to unleashing the kit. I don't have a cat, but I would feed it if I did. Bring down the patriarchy? I mean, sure, I don't think I have the option. I don't think I have that power, but go for it. Pat your trans gals. I mean, I don't currently have any nearby, but I'm sure. As long as they're okay with that. Because I don't want to touch someone if they're like, eat the nachos? I actually already did eat nachos today.
Yum.
Yeah. I had some nachos with some salsa verde and some pickled jalapeno.
Sure that I could make nachos today. I have all the materials.
Drink the drinks?
Thanks for the idea.
Yeah. It's nachos are always a good idea, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Drink the drinks? On it. Catalog your books. I actually do have most of my books cataloged. Now, by most of my books, I mean most of my TTRPG books, but that might actually be the majority of my books at this point.
So, like, on a list?
Like, just in your library, have, like, sections of your bookshelf dedicated that you...
Doesn't everyone do that?
I think you might be surprised.
You would be horrified to know the number of people that don't.
Yeah.
Interesting. Wow.
I can't say every single book that I own is in a dedicated spot and it's categorized, but the vast majority of them are.
Wow. See, that's how. I mean, how would I couldn't find any of my books if I didn't, have them organized.
A whole section of my bookshelf is dedicated to Klingon.
Well, I don't have one of those.
So many of my books and continue to acquire more books that I have run out of shelf space. So
yeah.
I think it's time to do some weeding because I inherited a bunch of books from one of my old roommates and a bunch of them I'm just never going to read them. Literally, they're in genres I just don't care about. So if you are into chicken soup for the souls kind of stuff and romantic fiction, then hit me up because I have some stuff and I don't want to.
So, but by the way, ugly German truths, the Dewey system is an inferior system.
It is.
The Library of Congress system is much better, and fortunately, it's also printed in all books. So, you can just
use that.
You can just follow you can just follow the label. It's right there.
Yeah, it tells you how to do it right
there. Tells you exactly where to. Yeah.
Pillpunk, who's been a member for 24 months, says, "I am the trans gal in need of head pats. Well, I hope that you get them." Even if I can't send them over the internet, because that's not how the internet works. Yet. Once we get into the world of, what was that Bruce Willis movie? Surrogates. Then maybe that'll be possible. Yeah. That was one of his last movies before he had that aphasia, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that sucks. And then, remember, there was this big question, like, why is he doing all these, like, absolute garbage movies? Because he was just in like 3 or 4 movies a year, and they were all trash. Well, not
People
all.
People are abusing him.
But it was yes and no, because part of it was also apparently he and his family had decided like he needs to take as many roles as possible to build up as big a nest egg. Because once the aphasia progresses to the point where he can't act at all, well, now what? No one's going to pay him to not act in a movie. So there was a little bit of like, oh well. Hey, he's cheap. We'll get him while he's, old and cheap. But also, some of it was like, as far as I can tell, I read things. I don't know where I would find them again, but like that indicated that he made a conscious decision to be in as many things as possible, to just get as much as he could before he had to stop working entirely. Lieutenant Math Navigator for $5 says, towards the free use of the copular verb and interjection, participle, and gerund. All of these are good things. I like interjections. I like participles. I like gerunds. Gerunds maybe least because, they're a little superfluous. You don't need them in every language. Although I have had English teachers who couldn't figure out the difference between active participles and gerunds. And
I've said this many times, and I will remind you in advance.
Okay.
Don't try to explain it. I never can remember what gerunds are, and I don't care to know.
That's fair, but you're also not trying to teach people grammar.
That's true.
If you were, I would expect you to know the difference. And if you didn't, I would judge you on it.
Yes.
Okay.
This is one of the things that I would hold myself to a higher standard, but I am no longer in a teaching profession in public or private schools. So.
Yeah. Well, even if you were teaching something that wasn't grammar, then I still wouldn't expect it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't expect my math teacher to know the difference between a gerund and an active participle. Josh McGee's for $5
Oh,
said,
that's... Yeah,
That's
go
right.
ahead.
You both wait until I'm about to read a super chat to start talking.
My
It's
earbuds
a
have a
theme.
delay, dude.
It is
I
a
am-
thing.
I am still hungover, so...
I know. Josh McGee's for $5 says, categorize books by size, color, or ISBN. So I
No, just no.
No, I categorize my books primarily by topic. And I do not have a set system, but I also have, not gigantic amounts of shelf space. So, like, I've got, like, my books on various languages in one section, and that includes, like, French and Arabic and Latin and Greek and Hebrew. And then there's a separate section for Klingon because there just is. I've got my religious texts, which includes several Bibles, a couple Qurans, one manual of Sharia law from the Hanbali school, if I remember correctly. I think it also has the Bhagavad Gita in there, as well as the Book of Mormon, the Doctrine and Covenants, Pearl of Great Price. Those are all kind of lumped together. I have another section that's mostly just various fiction books. And then each TTRPG game I have has a separate section for its books, although some of them there's only one book, so, does it have a section? It's with the other TTRPG books, I guess. And it's between other sections, so maybe? I don't know. That's how I do it.
Triceratops blames Canada. Blame Blarn. Sorry, not blame. It's Blarn, Canada.
Yeah, Blarn, Canada.
Okay.
Publixon.
Yeah.
Publixon in
So
chat
she's.
isn't-
I was in the middle of this. She said I worked for a university library in which the different physical libraries used different cataloging systems, so that was fun. And yeah, I have. So the place where I used to work had acquired an entire library from like a defunct school, and they decided to do the same thing. Instead of integrating all the materials into the existing catalog system, which was Library of Congress, they just set like they just opened up like a new wing and put all the books there in the Dewey Decimal System.
That's
and
horrible.
it was ridiculous.
You were about to do
it was very silly.
You were about to drop another F-bomb after
You
game
heard
cut
me
us
catch
on.
that.
Yep, I did.
You?
I did. I can tell. All right, here we go.
When
Vish was gonna say something.
Bellatilli,
Oh, I'm sorry.
Worry about-
Okay. For $5, Pillowpunk says, if I had a nickel for every time Bible fan fiction started its own religion, I'd have... How many are we up to now? It feels like a lot. Well, it's hard to count, but yeah, we're up to a lot. We are up to a lot. Yeah. There's been a lot of Bible fanfic, and a lot of it has been taken very seriously by people. Yeah.
the womb goddess is present. Let her create offspring. Let her create a mortal man so that he may bear the yoke, the work of Enlil. Let man bear the load of the gods. Now, this is where we're going, guys.
Kill that.
Yes, that is where we're going. Thanks.
You want to find out where Homo sapiens arrived on the scene? We're going to go over that.
Okay, so I want to point out,
Oh.
remember, this entire video is why Billy dismisses evolution. And here is why. Because he thinks that this is talking about the genetic engineering of humans. And so... But how does that disprove evolution anyway?
Reasons.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't.
I,
right?
until you mentioned that, I had completely forgotten That's where we started
Yeah, this is
short
Billy's
video was
why evolution is
yeah.
dumb. Mhm.
Wow.
And so it's
Thanks.
ultimately dumb because he thinks that aliens, who are talked about as if they were gods in an ancient Sumerian text, created humans, and by having one of the gods basically give birth to the first humans. And he interprets that as they had a genetic engineering lab in South Africa, and it was in South Africa because remember, at least one of the gods went down, which doesn't mean the underworld, it means south for just no reason. And here we're getting the genetic engineering of humans, which again doesn't in any way preclude evolution broadly, right? Like the fact that we now have genetically engineered tomatoes that are like frost resistant, that doesn't change evolution. Nothing about evolution has changed.
That's right. Yes.
Right? Like, that's not how this works. This would just be an exception to the normal course of evolution, where some intelligent agency is injecting a bunch of horizontally transferred genes into something. But that doesn't make evolution false. It just means this one weird thing happened.
They called up the goddess, asked the midwife of the gods, "Wise mommy?" Wise mommy is also is well known in the.
Also, it says mommy, and I know that those sounds are those vowels are similar. But I just hate the degree to which he says mommy instead of mommy.
Yeah.
Because it's not great.
Egyptian mythology as well. She is the Egyptian deity with the cow head. Okay.
Hathor? Are you looking for
mommy?
Hathor?
That's Hathor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What? So, near as I can tell, the connection here is that they are both goddesses that have some control over human fertility. And it's probably not hard to see why many cultures might independently come up with a feminine deity who is in charge of things like human fertility and childbirth. Because in human societies, it tends to be women who are in charge or involved in the actual process of helping people give birth, of being the ones who give birth, of doing that things, right? Like, there's a pretty good reason why midwives throughout most societies have typically been women. Not a hard and fast rule, but typically. And so, yeah, if you're going to come up with a deity to do this job from a divine standpoint, yeah, you're going to get a lot of feminine divine figures that are in charge of things like human fertility, childbirth, and protection of infants. That's just what's going on here. There's no particular reason that we need to connect Mommy and Hathor. We just don't.
You are the womb goddess to be the creator of mankind. Create a mortal that he may bear the yoke. Let him bear the yoke. That means let him do all this hard labor out here, right? Make them slaves. Let him bear the work of Enlil. Let man bear the load of the gods.
And remember,
why did he yell it like that?
I don't know. But I also want to point out that he will repeatedly say that this is, in fact, mining for gold or other minerals like that. But previously, the work was described, and it was cultivating the land and digging irrigation canals. Because, remember, that's what most Sumerians did. They did not spend as much time mining as they did farming. So...
They spend any time blarning?
Yeah, probably. They probably did spend some time blarning. I would have to guess, yeah.
Nintu made her voice heard and spoke to the great gods. It is not proper for me to make him. Let that work of Enki's, let that work be Enki's. In other words, she was saying, I don't want to be the one who does this. Let Enki is the master geneticist. He's in charge of that. Let him do this.
Does it say that?
The master geneticist.
I'm taking a drink. Where does it say that, Billy?
Okay.
Once again, we get to a point where
Wow.
Billy's like, well, I'm not just reading Zachariah Sitchin's translation. It's like, no, you're not. But you're just taking all of his ideas and shoving them onto the text anyway. Sorry, Kim.
It's because of the structure, right? In South Africa there. That's it, right? The where we've established that is the genetic
Laboratory.
the genetics laboratory
Mhm.
that he's got. That's why, right? That's so because clearly the text is telling us that's what's going on, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
This creation thing of let him do this genetic modification. It is not proper that I should make a mortal slave. I shall create a co-worker, a co-creator. This is Ninurta, their sister. But I will not make a slave. This is an internal fight going on between these people now, right? These Anunnaki. This is the work of
I want to point out that right now we're actually talking about the second tier deities who are not generally Anunnaki. So he is incorrect. The Igigi are more properly called Anunnaki in this situation,
Yes.
but not like Enlil or Enki or Ninurta.
Enki. He must make everything pure. If Enki gives me the clay, then I will do it.
Okay, so what do you guys think? Is he going to take this at face value and say that, like many ancient Near East mythologies, this isn't the idea of humans actually being formed out of the dust of the earth, the clay of the earth, the dirt?
Yeah.
Or is he going to make up some kind of thing about clay that makes it something entirely not clay so that he can keep it in line with his genetic engineering shenanigans? What do you think?
It feels like we're leaning towards the second option here.
Yeah, I think so too. Vagrant Vagabond of Variant Vista says, you think anyone told him about the nuclear reactor in Africa? Which I assume you mean Oklo. I feel like if they did, he'd find a way to include it. I don't know, actually. The Oklo reactor, which is an ancient, and by ancient I mean billions of years ago, induced fission reactor that existed on Earth, basically just because of a fairly coincidental arrangement of uranium and moderator type materials, is not all that well known outside of like uranium mining circles, nuclear power generation circles, and like people who are super into like debunking like Age of the Earth nonsense and like stuff like that. So I feel like he probably wouldn't have heard of it. If he did, it might be a little bit too old for him to incorporate, because one of the things is Billy doesn't seem to be like a young Earth type guy. He seems to think that Earth has been around for billions of years, but then aliens visited it at some point and created humans. And then for some reason, I think he just doesn't know what evolution is. And he thinks that for some reason, the idea that that aliens genetically engineered humans would negate evolution broadly, which it definitely doesn't. But I don't think he would reject the Age of the Earth. I suppose he could come up with something that like even more ancienter aliens came and made Oklo, but like it's obviously not artificial. So like I don't know, it would be a weird argument to make. But I would be interested to know what he thinks of it, because I'm sure it would be quite the take. Have you heard of Oklo there, Vish or Kip?
I have not.
So this was, I think it was about 2 billion years ago or so. There was a uranium heavy deposit, and when I believe it was French mining interest was interested in digging up the uranium for use in nuclear power, they were like, oh, hey, look, there's a lot of uranium here. But when they started getting it out of the ground, they realized it was depleted in actual fissionable material, which is weird.
Because really? Oh, okay. I was
Yeah.
going to say because it's super old.
Well, it's not just super old, because basically all the uranium on Earth is about the same age.
Oh, okay.
But what that means is that it all generally has about the same isotopic ratios. But this bet didn't. It had an unusual isotopic ratio where the fissionable isotopes of uranium were greatly depleted. And so they were like, well, how is that possible? And someone came up with the idea of like, well, maybe there was actually an induced fission going on here billions of years ago that was depleting the fissionable material. And everyone was like, well, that seems pretty far-fetched. And he was like, yeah, it does. But if that's what happened, then we should see the stable decay products of the fission decay chains of things like U-236 and U-238. Let's look and see if the area is enriched in those isotopes. And sure enough, it was. And what this demonstrated was that nuclear decay has been working both induced and spontaneous, basically the same way for at least the past few billion years. Which means that, sorry, creationists, but your accelerated nuclear decay Not a thing that happened in the last 2 billion years. So, yeah. Anyway, it's very cool if you're into that kind of thing.
Enki made his voice heard and spoke to the great gods. Wise mommy, mother of gods, your sons, your wisdom is noted and shall be made to pass. On the 1st, 17th, and 15th of the month, I shall make a purification by washing. Then one Anunnaki god should be chosen for sacrifice, and the gods can be purified by immersion. Nintu shall mix clay with his flesh and blood. Now, what they're talking about here is taking one of these Anunnaki beings and sacrificing some of their DNA, taking some of their blood.
Is that what they're saying?
Uh,
Because that's not what they're saying. They're saying they're going to kill one of them and then mix all of that blood together with bones and clay to fashion a new mortal.
On the 1st, 7th, and the 15th of the month.
Yeah, so I guess they're killing 3 of them, maybe? I don't know. But when they say sacrifice here, taking the blood, the obvious implication is that they're killing these people, not taking a blood sample for a DNA test.
Nope.
I'm taking a drink. This is... See, once again, I get that you're not reading from Sitchin there, Billy, but whenever you say, now see what this means is exactly what Sitchin said, you kind of basically are just reading Sitchin.
yeah.
It's very... I don't even know why he bothers. Just read Sitchin at this point. Like, who cares? If you're just going to say all the things Sitchin would say, then why not just read Sitchin? Let's see. DM Worf's and Spock's Wing says, Dapper Dinosaur, have any young Earth creationists tried to make sense of Oklo? I don't know. I haven't really sought it out. Jackson Wheat and RJ Downer would probably know. I'm not aware of any, but that doesn't mean it hasn't happened. Because I frequently encounter creationists trying to tackle topics that I didn't know that they had tried to tackle. Inquisitive Infidel for $2 says, nuclear decay messing with Kelvin's numbers. Yeah, poor Lord Kelvin tried to calculate the age of the Earth, assuming that, you know, like, the only source of heat was just the original heat of its formation. And yeah, he came up with a much too young age of the Earth because he didn't know about radioactivity. And you know what? Like, for the time and for what he knew, he did a good job. I don't think I could have done... I don't think anyone could have done any better than Lord Kelvin did in that calculation. But if you don't know about one of the major sources of heat underground, well, you don't know about it. You can't include it. So, sucks for Kelvin. But hey, we have an entire, temperature scale named after him. So, and also, I have a game, Planet Crafter, that also does not understand what the Kelvin temperature scale is. Because, like, it's a game where you're supposed to, like, terraform planets, and one of the things you have to do is heat them up. But, like, you're heating them up to rather ridiculously still cold temperatures. It's like, oh, hey, it's 42 microkelvin, and there's liquid water. No. Nope. That's not how that works. That would be too cold for basically anything to ever happen on that planet. Lieutenant Matt's Navigator for $5 says, this is a Genesis teaches ex nihilo creation level example of interpreting the text by ignoring the text. I mean, I think it's actually worse, right? Because at least with the creation ex nihilo, like, it was not always clear exactly how we ought to interpret Genesis 1:1 for a lot of people trying to translate it into English. And so, like, I do think people made, like, well-informed and good faith translations that lent themselves to, like, being compatible at least with ex nihilo creation. I don't think you can do that here. I don't think you can at all say that there's a good faith interpretation where what's actually happening here is that these Anunnaki are having little, like, pinpricks of blood taken for genetic testing so that they can then use that genetic material and mix it with some, I don't know, ape in South Africa. Because that's where this is going, by the way, is that the gods, the aliens, are going to mix this DNA with apes from South Africa, like Australopithecus, and turn them into humans. In case that wasn't obvious to you guys. Did you know that's where we're going?
Yep.
Nope.
Yeah, Vishanti did. Vishanti has seen too much Ancient Aliens nonsense.
Yep.
We've sat and watched
I
Ancient
have.
Aliens together as like a comedy thing.
Mm-hmm. Listen, if you just take it as fiction, like alternate history or something like that, it's really fun.
Yeah.
Like, I love alt history. That's kind of cool, especially
Yeah.
if it's sci-fi. But when they're like, "No, this actually happened," I'm like,
Just think
I'll
of it
stop
like
you
a
right there,
Quentin
Chief.
Tarantino movie. That's
I
it.
hate Quentin Tarantino movies. I
Look-
really do.
Look, there's a reason that a lot of sci-fi franchises like Stargate or even the Predator franchise or Star Trek have a lot of ancient alien stuff in there.
Yeah.
It's fun, you know. 40K
Yes.
also has ancient alien stuff in there, so like it's fun as fiction, but there's no reason to ever
Mhm.
think it happened. You have zero evidence of it.
Okay, and mixing the blood with something that they call clay, which is something that they're doing in obviously.
Or maybe it's clay, Billy.
Right?
Why can't it be clay? The text says clay. I'm taking a drink of something they called clay. Yeah, you know what people call clay, Billy? Freaking clay.
Hey,
Oh my god, this is so painful.
Goodness. Like, if we're just gonna say it wasn't really clay, then why say it was really blood at that point?
it makes such intuitive sense here too. Like
You're
I
right.
just but people observed what happened to bodies when they died and decomposed and
Yeah.
you know returned to the earth. It's simple. It's easy.
Ooh.
This is easy.
Yeah, like you don't have to stretch these texts beyond all reason. You could just take them as the mythology that they were always intended to be.
It's the
He
best thing to
doesn't
do.
like that they were supposed to be mythology. That doesn't satisfy him.
It's true. Yeah, Crypto 457, and there are many folks who think Stargate SG-1 is a documentary, and the government is guarding the Stargate. Although
See, it's like the. Did I have I said this on this channel before? Where it's like these guys have this strange perception of people in antiquity who just had no ability to write about things that they imagined.
Yeah, yeah.
That all they could do was just write about things that they actually saw.
Yeah, well,
Or-
that's because imagination was invented in 1862 by George Imagination.
Yeah.
Yes.
If you ever hear me say that something was invented by a guy of that name of the thing he invented, I'm almost certainly lying to you. Just putting that out
But what if
there.
you weren't?
Well, then you might not know. But yeah, like chances are, if I ever say X was invented by George X or something like that, yeah, I'm kidding. You're not supposed to take that seriously.
But what if you weren't?
Well, then I wouldn't
That's
be.
Billy's whole thing is, but what if they
Oh, yeah,
weren't?
true. Yeah, I don't know. In that case, I don't know. Lieutenant Math Navigator for $5 says 19th century railroads built their locomotives and tracks with something they called iron, in quotes. Air quotes iron. Oh. I'm gonna drink
Yes.
something that they call soju.
Yes.
You know,
I love
technically-
Apologia in the chat says if you're not going to indulge people overstretching modern and ancient mythology, then what is the internet even for?
Yeah.
Look, that's the indulge and stretch all you want in a fictional context. Do not try to convince people that this is going to be overturning like the biological consensus of the past century, thereby indoctrinating them into pseudoscience stuff that's going to cause them to do things like reject vaccines and stuff. Because one of the things
The headcanon is actually reality. Like, no.
One of the things I want to point out is that Billy is targeting for his pseudoscience nonsense a community in the United States that is both, on average, poorer than many other demographic groups, as well as more reluctant to trust medical interventions, which combined means that they often have worse health outcomes than members of other demographic groups of otherwise similar, like, age, wealth, stuff like that, right? And specifically, I mean, he's not like it's a secret. He's targeting African Americans. And their distrust of medical intervention is for very, very understandable historical reasons. But all he's doing is making it worse. There's a reason that African Americans had a significantly higher mortality rate during the height of COVID than most other groups. And Billy's making that worse. I don't think he's consciously
Harming your own
trying to make
community,
it.
man. What are you doing?
I don't think that's his goal. I don't think it's what he thinks he's doing. But what Billy is doing is he is causing more African Americans to die than need to, and to die younger. And it's not okay. There's already enough going on that is working against African Americans in the United States of America. They don't need Billy Carson lying to them and getting them killed. And by killed, I mean, by diseases. I don't mean necessarily murdered. But like, that's the reason I really do this kind of thing, right? It's like, Billy Carson isn't someone anyone should be listening to, least of all his target audience. He gets people killed. Period. Same thing that AIG
Stupidity
does.
were just stupidity, it wouldn't be such a big deal. But when it causes actual harm, that's where we have to step in.
Yeah. Jennifer Silvas for $2 says, because I think he's free ranging well away from Sitchin. That's true. He does go away from Sitchin too.
Yeah.
Sitchin is sort of like the base level, and then he builds his own little pyramid of bullshit on top of it. Inquisitive Infidel for $2 says, humans, ugly bags of wet fertilizer. I thought you were going to just go the full TNG reference, but you didn't, and I appreciate where you did take it, so I like that. At Clip04, 25 Polish zloty, I think. Lord Sandwich, though. Yeah, there are occasional exceptions, although also, the degree to which Lord Sandwich actually invented the sandwich, I think, is overblown, because we have a pretty broad range of foods that are called sandwiches, and those were invented often long before him and independent of him. So, like, did he invent the sandwich? Kind of, but also not really. So, yeah, I don't know.
But I wanted to just point out, I think Red Cedar has encapsulated this very well. Could do genetic engineering, but can only write about it in weird metaphorical terms.
Exactly, right, exactly. With
Yes.
clay and sacrifice. You can't say, like, oh, they had a sample of blood, and they mixed it with the... I mean,
They apparently they know what DNA is, right?
Yeah, but they don't have a word for it, apparently.
That's weird.
It is
That's
weird. Most cultures who are aware of things have words for those things. As a general
it's one
rule.
of the first things that happens.
Yep, is you get a word for it.
When you become aware of something.
Yes.
It's like, oh, hey, look, a new thing. We need a word for it.
All right. Well, no, we don't. It just I can't think of one. So let's just.
You know what's a fun thing? Most languages, when they encounter something new, will grab a word from like the language of the people that introduced that thing to them, and they'll just borrow it in. Navajo almost never does that. In Navajo, nouns are almost an entirely closed class, and they only ever construct new words from the existing nouns in Navajo. And so the Navajo word for a lot of things gets very convoluted. So, yeah, for some reason, like, Navajo language is almost completely immune to borrowing nouns. Like, just, no, we refuse. Hey, okay. Lieutenant Matt the Navigator for $5 says, Lord Sandwich invented the sandwich with something he calls bread, which was, in fact, invented by King Bread 2 years earlier.
Right.
All right, I'm going to hit play.
These are a basic word for something that's going on in a laboratory setting. They're going to mix clay with flesh and blood. So this is obviously a very mundane, basic way of saying that they're doing something that's a little bit more sophisticated. But
is it? Because it seems like it's a mundane way of saying they're doing something that for gods is kind of mundane. Jennifer Silvas for $5 says, you guys are being dense. The people are writing about what the gods are doing. Of course they don't understand. I mean, I think they know what clay is, though.
Puny mortal brains can't comprehend it.
Yeah, maybe that is it. But of course, in that case, why would they understand it well enough to write about it in metaphorical terms?
They're just doing the best they can, man.
Well, hey, we're only 5 super chats away from unleashing Kip, which would actually give him at least a little bit of time to be unleashed. So
Only 5 more.
Yeah. Kip, you could just give $5 super chats all on your own if you wanted to.
I mean, that sounds easy enough.
It
But
is,
I've
actually.
yeah.
Well-
Because I have boomer moments. I've struggled with linking my PayPal and my credit card to mind you, I haven't tried very hard either. So
Fair enough.
you know,
Metageeky Platypus Librarian for $5 says the number one delay for scientific innovation are the endless nights of debating what to call it. There's always a Bob wanting to call it Bob's thing. Darn it, Bob! Get out of here. No more Roberts. That's the rule. New rule. If your name is Robert, I'm sorry, I don't mean it.
So that the average person can grasp it, because a lot of the high-tech words didn't exist in ancient Sumeria.
But if they knew about the concepts, then they would invent the words for the
Right.
concepts.
Yeah.
Like, go back 200 years ago, we didn't have a lot of the words for things like transistors and semiconductor and things like that. But you know what happened? Like, the minute that we needed that word,
There it was.
there it was. We came up with the word. Ben Murphy, who's been a member for 9 months, says just started Australian AM. Yeah, okay. Can't even be down on FE map. It's true. Even on the FE map, south isn't down. Like,
Yeah.
it's just south. It's towards the rim. But still, flat earthers still conflate north and up and south and down. That's why they think that, like, so I guess on the globe Earth, people in Australia should have to fall off the Earth. Like, what do you mean? The water would fall off the globe. Fall off to where? What do you think is happening? Where's it falling towards? What does that mean? And it's obvious that what they mean is that they think that the globe is a sphere with the north on top and south on bottom, and then something else below that things fall towards.
Yes.
Which, no, that is not, in fact, the globe model of the Earth. That is the nothing model of the Earth.
A couple 100,000 years ago. These
I'm sorry, a couple 100,000 years ago? Kip, you're familiar with this text. Was it made 200,000 years ago?
I mean, we don't know exactly when it was
Okay.
made, but
So maybe.
estimates are not nearly that old.
Well, what are the chances that it is that old?
Like 0.
Oh, so you're telling me there's not a chance?
Not a chance.
Oh, man.
Sorry.
That's even worse than Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah, really.
Yes, it is. It is. There is no chance.
A chatter they call Fearmonger for $5 says, I mean, it certainly is convenient that they didn't use any big science words to explain their alien tech, because then the poor Billy couldn't read them. Yeah, poor Billy. All right. Here we go.
Same, I'm sorry, didn't exist yet. So, all right. So he says, Nintu shall mix clay with his flesh and blood. Then a god, a man, will be mixed together in clay. Let us hear the drumbeat of his heart forever after. Let a ghost come into existence from the god's flesh. Let her proclaim it is a living sign, and let the ghost exist as so that it's not to forget the slain gods.
Hey, you think Billy's going to correct himself about it being a genetic sample that was taken instead of the actual killing of one of these Anunnaki to create the human? I don't think he is, because the thing is, it doesn't make any sense that if you're doing genetic engineering, you would need to kill the person whose DNA you're going to be using as a template, right? Because you don't need to do that. All you need is like a few cells so that you can extract the DNA, replicate it a whole bunch, and then get a good sequence. But here they're killing them. Why? Because the ancient Sumerians didn't have any idea about how genetics worked. They thought, like many cultures, that the blood was actually what kept things alive, because they noticed that when you got rid of something's blood, it died. And it was a substance that you could mix into things, like clay. So if you're mixing the life of the god into this clay, you're going to be able to create something that's lesser than the gods, but still has that divine spark of life in it. Hence a human, hence a mortal. But that doesn't make sense if this is supposed to be genetic engineering. Genetic engineering doesn't work by, like, whirring things up in a blender to extract their DNA. If you need, like, antifreeze protein for your GM tomatoes from, like, an ice fish from Antarctica, you don't go to Antarctica, stick one of those fish in a blender, and then, like, smash that into a tomato. But that's kind of what's being described here.
I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know much about anything, but I mean, I believe you don't need a lot of DNA to actually do some of this stuff either.
No,
do
not
you?
really.
Like
need
an
to be-
actual. So I mean,
As long as you can, catalyze further DNA formation from what you get, which
yeah. So
anyone
I
doing
mean, they
genetic
wouldn't.
engineering can.
They wouldn't need like 3 whole
People worth of
engagey.
yeah.
Yeah. And to kill them all.
Yeah.
You wouldn't need to do that either.
It's completely absurd. Lieutenant Matt the Navigator for $5 says Ian Nasir would scam this guy so hard the thing he calls copper. It's fun because any noun you can just put the thing person calls and then scare quotes like, okay, I'm gonna click on this what I call a button to hit play on this what I call a video.
So that means the same thing as let us make man in our image. So what they're doing.
I mean, in that case, it's actually not that far off. I'm going to give him that one. That is actually thematically, I think, resonant there, and I do think that I can't prove it. I don't know how I would go about demonstrating it, but I don't think it's that far-fetched to say that the idea of man being created in the image of God is something that carries through from older creation myths in which the gods take some part of themselves and put that into the human. So I'll take a drink for Billy being reasonable. Not quite being right, but you know what? I'm thirsty, and I really like this watermelon soju. So.
They took an existing hominid, which you can read deeper into this in the Enuma Elish, because it goes over the same thing.
Oh, the Enuma Elish tell us about like the Australopithecus afarensis and like what Lucy was doing when she was hanging out in that tree. That we get the Enuma Elish. Have you read the Enuma Elish?
No.
Yeah.
You haven't read the Enuma Elish, Vish?
No. I haven't been
Oh,
interested
wow.
in reading it yet. I've
Oh,
got a
okay.
lot of other things to read. I mean, I'm sure
Sure.
I'll get to it eventually.
Yeah. There's a new translation, by the way.
Oh, okay, cool. Maybe
Yeah.
I'll check
It was
that
at
out.
SBL when
Well-
yeah. But yes, no, the Enuma Elish. It's good.
But does it have hominins from before humans existed, like Australopithecus or
No.
no? What about
No.
Paranthropus?
Nope.
Ardipithecus?
Not no.
Sahelanthropus?
No. It's got gods,
Okay.
right? And then well, it's got cosmic creatures in it too. You might call them spirit critters.
Ooh.
And they're cool.
I do like a good cosmic being, if I'm being.
And then it's got people, and that's about it.
My Infinite Journey for $6.66 says, "Hail Nero, Dabs, Kip, and Vish, and hail real genetics and real science in general." Yes, indeed.
But it goes a little bit
Sorry,
deeper.
I'm just looking at Apologia's comment here. If I ever debate Billy Carson, I'm going to buy a copy of the Enuma Elish to put it on my shelf and grab it as a power move.
Nice.
Yes.
Nice.
Pull it off the
Get the
shelf
new
to show
one.
dominance.
Get the new one, Paul. The new translation's good.
Ugly German Truth points out, well, wait. The Enuma Elish predicted I Love Lucy. Yeah, maybe.
A lot of ancient texts predicted modern things if you read them wrong enough.
It's true.
It's true.
Yeah.
Yes.
There was already people on this planet that were here that they didn't interact with. They weren't like us right now today. These were probably our cousins.
Okay, so like Homo erectus, Homo ergaster, Homo habilis, Neanderthals? What are we talking about here, Billy?
Well, they took these people and they took them out of the wilderness and they began to genetically modify them with their own DNA and created this smorgasbord of genetics. In other
Okay, so they took people and
who were in the wilderness,
right, but who weren't humans, but were hominids. Which, okay, yeah, I guess. And then, how does the blood and the clay and the bone and the flesh work into this, Billy? So I've got clay. I've got the blood and flesh and bones of a slain god, and I've got, we'll say, like a Homo erectus. What's the process by which I combine these into a Homo sapiens? Because I don't think there is one. That's not how any of this really works.
Whereas it was like creating something called a zygote in modern science. We created a zygote.
Okay, so you
Wait,
took flesh.
Isn't that just a stage?
Yeah, so the zygote is
Of
the
embryonic
is a
development?
fertilized ovum, right?
Yeah.
So it's basically the
Yeah.
earliest stage of embryonic development. It's the
Okay.
first point at which you can say there is now a new organism. Because before that, it was just gametes from the two previous organisms, and now they've combined to create a single cell with a unique genome that is a combination of the genetic material of both parents, and it is then going to develop, and that's really the earliest stage where you can say, okay, this is a distinct organism. It's a single cell. So, I mean, I guess you would create a zygote, but then why did you need to kill 3 gods to create one zygote? Generally, you just need an ovum and a spermatozoon, and that
That's
creates
it.
a zygote.
I mean, yeah, the
Yeah.
exchange rate on this is pretty poor.
Yeah. Imagine
It
if
takes 3 gods to
It's-
make a zygote.
Yes,
Ugh.
it
Yeah.
does.
it's
It's
No
very
wonder there's
interesting.
No gods left.
because
We
this
killed
is
them all to make
this is some
zygotes.
Star Trek writers' room level biology.
Yeah,
right here.
really.
Look, I love Star Trek, but their biology is
Uh.
notoriously stupid.
I can say it now.
Yes, you can.
It's fucking stupid.
Lieutenant Matt the Navigator gives us our 30th Unleash the Copular Verb. And here we go. We're going to do another super chat goal, but this is not going to last very long, so it's going to have to be fast. All right, so if we can get, let's see, in the next 15 minutes, which is about as low as I can go, 5 more, then we will do a spooky movie stream. Okay.
It's not. We won't stream any spooky movies.
Yeah, it'll be a discussion stream about what spooky movies we
That's
like.
right.
Now that Kip has seen a
Yeah.
few, because Vishanti and I forced him to.
No, we haven't
And
watched.
we're
one in a
going
while,
through
by the way,
things
but
that people haven't seen off this list.
Yes. Yeah, we have a whole. Vishanti sat down and compiled a list of like some of the best spooky movies out there,
Hmm
and we're
there's
we're
like
going
over
through it.
100 movies.
And
on-
both
Yeah.
she and I
on the
have
list.
seen
It's-
almost all of them already.
I've
Well,
seen
yeah, but-
several.
True.
Yeah,
Of them.
it's one of those things where I kept recommending the same movies to people over and over, and I was like, instead of me constantly repeating myself, why don't I just compile a list and then just send people the list?
Yeah.
It's going to save me so much time. So
It-
most of the movies
it
are
did.
just total bangers. Some of them are not the greatest films ever made, but they're fun, or they're like standards in the genre. So they're not all like equally endorsed by me, but they need to be viewed.
Hmm.
So
We have a couple
yeah,
super
it's
chats.
good stuff.
Inquisitive Infidel for $2 says, "You just need a quote little death to create a zygote." Excellent. I love it.
Good.
Let's see. Josh McGee's for $5 says, "For the spooky movie stream." That is,
Yes.
we now only need 4 more, but we only actually have 10 minutes, really. So, if you want that,
No,
get them in quick.
get them in.
And so where you could take an egg from a womb of like, an existing hominid, you
Okay.
can
Yes.
clean out some of the genetic material.
I'm sorry, you can what now, Billy? What did you just say? Clean out some of the genetic material? I'm
Some
taking
of
a
the
drink.
genetic material.
What does that even mean?
What does that mean?
Ugh.
Like he's
And-
motioning like
and-
you're scooping out the
and-
chromosomes or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, I
and
mean,
I-
you could say that the little death is a way to clear out some genetic material.
yeah.
Yeah, da, 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 da.
You
And
think
where the fuck is that in this text?
where nowhere.
Is it?
Ugh.
I
Ugh.
He made it up.
You can mix your genetic material in there from somebody else, and you could plant that egg in another woman, and that woman can actually go to term and have that baby. This is what we
Yes, Billy, we know what surrogacy is.
so
But-
at some point I'm expecting that he thinks that this is all something that was engineered
Mhm.
by the gods, which are actually aliens, and then they encoded and built that into human beings so that we can just do it ourselves.
Well, I don't know,
And-
because the previous non-Homo sapiens people that he's talking about must have been able to reproduce on their own already. Otherwise,
does
how were
he
they
think-
there?
Right? Like,
Unless they were just
Oh.
immortal and had always existed somehow, I guess. Becca Chistiniano for $5 says, for the spooky movie, which means we only need 3 more.
this is now the 4th time that that my YouTube tab has crashed.
Yeah, it's
In this
happened to
stream.
me a fair few times. I don't know why. All right, we're going to hit play.
We can do it today, right?
Yes, Billy, we can reproduce today. Good job. We figured it out. You know where babies come from.
It's a zygote through in vitro fertilization. And so that's modern science. Well, they were doing this all the way back then.
I mean, so you say, and I've provided literally no reason for us to believe you.
On the 1st, 17th, and 15th of the month, Enki made a purification by washing. Just to eat.
Wonder what that means. Oh, is that cleaning out the genetic material?
Maybe that's what that is. Maybe that's what he thinks that is. Oh, I think you cracked the code.
Oh,
Wow.
Keep cracking the code right
Yeah.
here. Look at that. All right. The ritual
Yikes.
purification is Enki going in and scooping out some chromosomes here and there.
Now I'm very interested to know how he understands the 1st, the 7th, and the 15th day in this description.
Yeah, I don't know. Like,
Um,
is he waiting these days to remove genetic material from like a hominid ovum or something? Is that what's happening? Like oh, drink for Mothra.
I have some left.
Author this time. Whee!
God who had intelligence. They slaughtered in their assembly. Nintu mixed clay with his flesh and blood. They heard the drum beat forever after. A ghost came into existence from the gods, flesh, and Nintu proclaimed it as a living sign. The ghost existed so none would forget the slain god. So in other words, this clone person of this god looked just like this guy.
That is not at all what it says.
No,
What?
it is not.
Where did you even get any of that? BPA for €10 says, ooh, with a ghost emoji. Thank you very much. Which means we only need 2. We need 2, everybody. So what I think is pretty obviously happening here is that the ghost is probably translation for something like spirit or breath or something like that. And that the idea is supposed to be that the humans got that life, that breath from the gods. And now the gods themselves, as well as the other humans, need to remember where they got that breath from. It was from the sacrifice of a god to bring them into being. And that is supposed to, keep them remembering the degree to which they have some essence from the gods in them, which should both connect them to the gods, as well as make them grateful for that sacrifice to the gods, thereby encouraging them to keep, paying tithes to the temple, which was a big part of Sumerian life, because the temple wasn't just the place you did to go do worship things, right? It was the administrative hub of the entire city.
Yep.
The main temple in the city. That was how you figured out who was doing what jobs. They were the ones who were, coordinating construction projects in the city. That was where the main treasury for the government was. Because this idea of separating church and state, not a thing back in the day. Let's see. For $5, there we go. Metageeky Platypus Librarian said there is no scarier movie than watching Billy. And then, which I don't know why this didn't count. I'm going to count it anyway because it should be the same. Erdanya for €5 says for spooky, scary skeletons. I don't know why that came in as teal instead of green, or sorry, blue instead of
Maybe because
green?
Euros doesn't. I don't know.
Yeah,
That's dumb.
Yeah, I'm going to count it anyway. So our next one is probably is going to be spooky movies. Spooky movies. We'll have to watch at least another 1 or 2 spooky movies with Kip then.
Spooky, scary. Boys becoming men. Men becoming wolves.
Bar Mitzvah is probably my favorite Bar Mitzvah song.
Mine too.
So
I
when
don't have
when
one.
it developed, it looked just like this what's his name there? His name was Gesh Tui. So this person looked just like Just Tui.
Cool. Well, that's where we're going to end it for now because
Oh, that's right. I'm wrong. Chatter that they call Fearmonger says no, €5 should be more than $5. That's true.
yeah, so it should
Completely
definitely
forgot about
count.
the exchange rate.
Yeah, and then Josh Wee sends a bunch of fireworks emojis. Thank you very much for $5. Yeah, I don't know why the €5 didn't count. It should have. I'm going to blame
So
YouTube.
weird.
YouTube, it's your fault. All right, so Kip, before we actually fully get out of here, what do you want to tell people about that's coming up on your channel?
It's Saturday,
It is.
so there will be an episode of Budget Scripture Saturday tonight
Nice.
at 11 o'clock Eastern, 8 o'clock Pacific. I will be joined by both Dr. Tapioca Weasel, who is back from Scotland
Nice.
or Northumbria, and Nitty, and we're going to be and I'm maybe I won't yell as much as I did when we did
Good
this
luck.
the last time, but seriously, that Testify video was fucking terrible.
Yeah.
So maybe something not as triggering. I don't know what we're doing yet. I never know until we just do it. So that's happening. There will be Kiriati Breet this week, and I will probably have to plan for another stream, maybe on Friday. I don't have that sorted out yet. I will say I'm very excited because tomorrow I'm going to the Superman movie, which is fun.
Nice.
Hey,
But
heard
yeah.
I've heard it's too
Yeah.
woke because Superman is an
Yeah,
immigrant.
I
just
have
like
heard
he
that.
always
Can't wait to
has
see
been.
Can't
one
wait
of
to
my-
see an illegal alien absolutely wreck a billionaire's bullshit.
It's like
Go.
the Good Place meme. Who died and made Superman an immigrant? Oh, sorry, no.
Yeah.
Since
Right?
when has Superman been an immigrant? And it's like
Since
1938.
forever.
Since
Serious?
1938, he was been an immigrant and an undocumented one at that. Because
Yes.
with
Literally
that,
an alien.
Right.
An actual alien.
it's like do you,
Yeah.
the thing I wonder is when people say this, do those people even know the term media literacy?
No.
Okay.
Mm-mm.
Nope.
Yep. So that's happening tomorrow. But
Things
the
can't
most
represent other
exciting
things.
The most exciting thing about my week is that on Monday I'm driving into Vancouver, which is not something I like doing or do very often. But I'm driving into Vancouver on Monday, and I'm gonna go hang out with Justin Sledge all day, which is gonna be
So
cool.
jealous.
Nice. That is really
I
cool.
knew it. So yeah.
Yeah, DM Wing is correct. The son of two Jewish fathers, no less. That's right.
Just as much.
Right. Yeah. No. Superman.
With the
Oh,
most unsubtle name ever. Kal-El.
yeah.
I mean,
Look, we don't need anyone to make up a Kryptonian language.
that's unwelcome
Sorry,
nuance.
but we'll just make it Hebrew.
Yeah.
Yep.
Man, that would piss off so many anti-Semites.
I know.
We should just do it. It should just be the thing. Like, canonically, just by sheer coincidence, Hebrew and Kryptonian are just identical languages.
They just happen to be identical.
Right.
Space Jews confirmed.
But
Listen,
not
if there's
time-travel
one
space
thing that
Jews.
I know, James Gunn knows how to write really damn good superhero movies
Yeah, he does.
because he understands that it's a story. The setting happens to just be cape stuff. That's just incidental. He's more interested in telling actual stories with heart.
Mhm.
That's why his movies are good. That's why people continually rave about like Guardians of the Galaxy and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's like he
Yep.
could tell these stories, but he just happens to use the backdrop of superheroes.
All right, Vishanti, what do you have coming up that people should know about?
Whew. Oh my gosh, this was an unusually busy week for me. I'm helping plan 2 events locally. So I've been a little behind on some of my actual channel stuff, but I've managed to spin 3 plates at once. So in addition to the upcoming collab that I'll have going with Chrissy Hansen about anti-Semitic tropes, in addition to the collab that's dropping in a few days with Fossil Daddy, where we're dunking on Ellie Marzulli again, and I'm planning an event for Sunday. If you happen to be in the LA area, just message me privately and I'll give you the details. Plus another event for August. So it's a lot of stuff. And then a presentation on the Messianic movement. So I've been doing a lot of writing and planning and even more writing and even more scripting. So some of those things will be available. I will post about them on my community page when they drop. So my collabs with other folks on this platform will be upcoming. Yeah, a chatter they call Fearmonger says I totally forgot Ellie Marzulli existed. Oh yeah, he's still posting his crap every day, so he's there for us to dunk on. It's so bad. It's so bad.
All right, so what's coming
There's a
up
couple
here?
things I missed.
Oh,
me too, Jake Nelson. I cried during Volume 3 as well.
okay, while you look those up, I'll start going through what I've got coming up here.
Okay.
So on Tuesday, we've got Kent with Bent coming up. That is not the normal Tuesday, but Maddie couldn't make it this Tuesday, so we're having that with Maddie at the end of the month, and instead we're having a Kent with Bent. The plan is for me to be in a tutu for that one because y'all hit that goal. Then on Thursday, we've got Creationists Don't Care About Evidence, which is John Sanford was on Eric Hoven's show, not Kent Hovind. Eric Hovind is the Hovind that I prefer. Even though most of everything he does is just identical to what his dad did in terms of talking about creationism. The big difference is that I don't have any evidence of Eric Hovind ever having emotionally or physically abused his children. Whereas his father admitted to both of those things repeatedly, proudly. So that's why Eric is, and also Eric made the good call of cutting off his father and not exposing his children to his father's abusive nonsense, which is a hard decision, and I will never apologize for giving Eric Hovind props for doing that, because it is a hard thing for anyone to do. And while I vehemently disagree with many of the things that Eric Hovind has done, he put his family first, and he got them out of a situation where they would be involved with an abusive asshole. And good for him.
And yeah, as somebody who has done similarly to one of their parents, I give him major props for that. Yeah. It's not the easiest decision, and you take a lot of flack from otherwise well-meaning people over it, but it's not their life. So when you draw those boundaries, stick with them.
Yep. And look, I'm not saying, go get rid of your family. I'm not you. I don't know you.
This was just in a particular scenario where your family member is abusive to the point where it's like, nah, can't do this anymore.
And good for him. I will never not acknowledge the fact that he did that exceptionally difficult and exceptionally praiseworthy thing. So, good job, Eric. Now, that being said, I am not going to pull my punches on the stupid stuff that both Eric and John get into in this video. So, so that'll be at noon Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern. Then on Saturday, apparently, we're doing spooky movies. Yeah. We're going to come and chat about spooky movies. So that will be same bat time, same bat channel. Noon Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern, here on YouTube. This is actually a dinosaur channel, not a bat channel. So other than referencing
same dino channel,
a TV show that's too old for most of my audience. I don't know why I said that.
Bird dino channel. Time.
I'm not a
same
bird
channel.
I'm not a bird though.
I don't know. I was trying to make it work.
Whatever. It's fine.
Anyway. I just also I want to say, hey, I've got a wish list up. If that's something that you're interested in doing, it's always nice to get a little bit of dopamine when something arrives on your porch.
It really is.
There are practical gifts on there, things that I do need that aren't books, because that was a common refrain is like, hey, you can put actual stuff that you need on there and not just books. So I did that. And I just want to say again, thank you to everybody that has been generous and donated to my fundraiser. It quite literally means more than I'm able to articulate. Your generosity and kindness, it means a lot to me because it's tough for everybody right now. So
yeah,
I deeply, deeply, deeply appreciate it.
And by the way, that is linked in the description. So if you feel like maybe you're watching this afterwards and you didn't get a chance while we were live, or you're wanting to give, but you're waiting for a paycheck or something, it's right in the description, as well as Vish's wish list is also in there. My wish list
and
is
it's
also
one of those things if you don't have funds, don't give stuff. Don't give stuff that you can't. If all you do is hit the little thumbs up button and share the link to the stream, that is just as good. And your support, whether it be financial or moral or whatever else, all of that is very welcome and appreciated.
All right. The last thing
Yep.
I have to mention is Friday. The plan is that we are going to be finally getting to episode 10 of season 1 of Star Trek Endurance. It's going to be called Convoy SE-119. I should have the teaser trailer out hopefully by the end of tomorrow. Yeah, that'll hopefully be fun. We're, as always, the plan is we're going to feature a lot of the YouTubers you might know. Chesh is going to be there. Jordan from Reason and Doubt. Craig from FTFE. Kip, you said you had something?
Oh, yeah. So, I forgot. I've got 2 things lined up this week. I'm going to be doing an interview with Hayden Tank over at what's the
Cool.
name of his podcast? It's something to do with the Bible.
The
But I'm
Apocrypals?
I don't think that's what it's called. But yeah. So I don't think that's coming out this week though. We're going to be talking about the historical situation leading up to the conquest of Jerusalem by the Babylonians, which is really interesting. And then so that's on the 15th, that's Tuesday, and then on Wednesday the 16th, I'm doing an interview with a new channel that I've never been on before called Reason and Theology. I believe it's a Catholic apologetics outfit, but they want me to talk about polytheism stuff in the Bible. And
Okay.
yeah, it will be interesting. So and I'm not sure. I don't know if that one's live either, but it will be coming out shortly thereafter. And I should say too that my expectation is that there will be an actual link that people can click on but before Friday to buy a book that I may have written. So look for that.
All right. Well, last thing is, if you are interested over on the Discord, we are going to be starting up the first season of Power Rangers Dino Fury. It is the last team of Power Rangers right now. We are on the home stretch. We have 54 episodes with this team, plus a 45-minute special that is not technically them, but whatever. And then that's it. We're on to Godzilla, which should be in September. So if you're holding out for Godzilla, give it a couple months. But if you are interested, yeah, we're going to be watching Power Rangers Dino Fury episodes 1, 2, 3, and 4 of season 1. All right, bye everybody. I hope to see all of you on Tuesday or in the Discord server.
Hey, before you leave, I just want to take a second to thank my patrons and channel members, especially those pledging $20 or above.
Ben Tovand, Tapioca Weasel, Arrow Dodger, Dan Cheedy, Eleron Teller, Phil Cavava, Ian Chen, Kelvin Brostock Van Manen, Landon Knoll, Mabbity Babbity, Sphincter of Doom, Volis, Max Cherry, North Texas Fossils, and John Ackerman.
It's because of my channel members and patrons whom you're seeing on screen that this channel can stay afloat. Without you, it would all shut down. If you want to join the team, there's a link to join the channel below this video, and there's a link to join the Patreon in the description. On the Patreon, you can get a 10% discount for pledging annually, and either way, you get early access to virtually all of my scripted videos, often 3 to 5 months before they come out for the general public. Thanks for watching.